Sleep tracking has become a modern ritual. Every morning, millions of people wake up not by asking, "How do I feel?" but by checking a number. A sleep score. A graph. A breakdown of REM, light sleep, and deep sleep. But how accurate are these devices, and should we trust them? To understand the truth about sleep tracking, we must begin with the gold standard of sleep science, polysomnography.
Welcome to SciCuriousID, where curiosity meets science.
Polysomnography is the clinical benchmark used in sleep laboratories worldwide. It records brain activity using electroencephalography, eye movements, and muscle tone. According to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, sleep stages are defined primarily through brainwave patterns measured by EEG. In other words, true sleep staging is based on electrical activity inside your brain. Consumer sleep trackers, however, do not measure brainwaves. Devices such as the Apple Watch, Fitbit, and Oura Ring rely on indirect signals. They measure movement using accelerometers and heart rate using light sensors. They estimate heart rate and heart rate variability using photoplethysmography. Some measure skin temperature or blood oxygen saturation. From these signals, algorithms attempt to infer whether you are awake, in light sleep, deep sleep, or REM sleep. The key word here is infer. Numerous validation studies published in journals have compared consumer devices to polysomnography. The findings are remarkably consistent. First, most consumer trackers are reasonably good at estimating total sleep time when averaged over several nights, especially for healthy individuals. However, their accuracy drops significantly when it comes to distinguishing between specific sleep stages, like REM and deep sleep. Why does this happen? Because sleep stages are defined by neural oscillations, patterns of electrical activity in the cortex. Wearables cannot detect these directly. Instead, they assume that certain physiological patterns correlate with certain stages. REM sleep often shows increased heart rate variability. Deep sleep often correlates with reduced movement and slower heart rate. But correlation is not equivalence. This distinction becomes important when users develop anxiety about their metrics. This phenomenon was formally described in 2017 as orthosomnia. Orthosomnia refers to an unhealthy preoccupation with improving sleep metrics, sometimes leading to worse sleep due to stress and hypervigilance. There is also the question of algorithm opacity. Consumer companies do not typically disclose their full classification models or datasets. Historically, actigraphy, a wrist-worn movement sensor, has been used in research for decades, primarily for estimating sleep duration. This means their strongest value lies in trends rather than nightly precision. If your resting heart rate is gradually changing over weeks, that trend is meaningful. Sleep scores compress complex biological processes into a single number. This simplification may create a false sense of diagnostic certainty. Sleep is regulated by two systems, circadian rhythm and sleep pressure. Circadian rhythm is governed by the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Sleep pressure accumulates through adenosine buildup during wakefulness. No consumer device can directly measure adenosine concentration. This does not mean they are useless. Trackers increase awareness of bedtime consistency, alcohol effects, and late-night screen exposure. The scientific conclusion is nuanced. Sleep trackers are useful for behavioral insight and long-term trends, but they are not clinical diagnostic tools. When your device tells you that you slept poorly, but you feel rested, which one do you trust? And if your score is high but you wake up exhausted, what does that say? Let me ask you, has tracking your sleep improved your rest or made you more anxious about it? Like and subscribe to join the conversation.
Thanks for watching SciCuriousID. Until next time.